reached the end of your prompt with the instruction to produce Part 1, first, and in your previous workflow, you continue by replying next, for Part 2. I'll follow that format. Your body wasn't craving another cookie. It was trying to survive a chain reaction you never even felt. You've done it. A bowl of cereal in the morning, a sweet coffee on the drive to work, maybe a healthy fruit smoothie because you wanted to make better choices. And then, somehow, an hour later, you're hungry again, tired again, looking for another snack. You blamed yourself. You thought you lacked discipline. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Your body wasn't failing you. It was following instructions. Most people believe sugar is dangerous because it contains calories. That's not the real story. The real story begins about 60 minutes after the first sweet bite, when millions of cells quietly change their behavior without asking your permission. And that hidden change can influence your energy, your hunger, your fat storage, even how quickly your body ages. That's the part almost nobody explains. Stay with me, because what happens during that single hour may determine what happens to your body for years. Imagine your body as a busy city. Every cell is a house. Every organ is a neighborhood. Blood vessels are highways delivering supplies. Sugar arrives like hundreds of delivery trucks entering the city all at once. At first, everything feels exciting. Energy floods the streets. The brain lights up because glucose is one of its favorite fuels. You feel sharper, happier. Reward chemicals begin to rise. For a few minutes, it feels like the decision was worth it. But the surprising part is, the city wasn't built for traffic like this every few hours. Here's the critical thing to understand. Your blood has to stay within an incredibly narrow glucose range. Even a modest rise becomes a biological emergency your body wants to control immediately. So another crew gets called in. Insulin. Think of insulin as the city's traffic controller. Its job sounds simple. Move glucose out of the bloodstream and into cells before traffic becomes dangerous. Without insulin, glucose would keep circulating, damaging delicate tissues over time. This is why your pancreas reacts so quickly. Not because sugar is evil, because your body is incredibly protective. And this is where many people begin misunderstanding themselves. When insulin rises after a sugary meal, you don't suddenly become unhealthy. Your body is responding exactly as it was designed to. The problem begins when this emergency happens again, and again, and again. What feels like a harmless snack becomes repeated biological overtime. Every response costs energy. Every response sends signals. Every response teaches your cells what kind of environment they're living in. Researchers at Harvard and other leading institutions have spent years studying how repeated insulin spikes influence metabolism, inflammation, and long-term health. The science keeps pointing toward the same uncomfortable truth. Your body listens to patterns more than isolated meals. One dessert doesn't define you. Hundreds of repeated surges begin writing new biological instructions. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. The first 60 minutes aren't only about blood sugar. They're about communication. Cells constantly ask one question: should we spend energy repairing or growing? That decision depends on signals, and one of the loudest signals comes from insulin. Most people never realize this. Insulin doesn't work alone. It begins speaking to another pathway that scientists have studied for decades. A pathway connected to growth, nutrient abundance, and whether your cells prioritize building instead of cleaning. This pathway is called mTOR. At first, activating it is completely normal, necessary even. Your muscles use it. Your tissues need it. Life depends on it. But here's the part nobody talks about. When mTOR hears the same message too often, something remarkably important starts getting quieter. Something discovered through groundbreaking work by Nobel Prize-winning scientist Yoshinori Ohsumi, a cellular cleanup system your body desperately depends on. And exactly 60 minutes after eating sugar, that invisible balance begins to shift. Not because sugar is poison, because your cells start receiving a very specific message. Resources are everywhere. Keep building. That's useful after a hard workout or during healthy growth. But when that message never stops, another process quietly steps aside. Autophagy. Think of it as your body's overnight cleaning crew. While the construction team builds new structures, the cleanup crew removes broken machinery, damaged proteins, and worn-out cell parts before they become bigger problems. Yoshinori Ohsumi's Nobel Prize-winning work helped reveal just how essential this system is. Your cells don't simply need fuel, they need time to clean, and this is where it gets dark. If repeated sugar spikes keep insulin elevated, mTOR remains more active, and autophagy receives fewer opportunities to do its work. The result isn't immediate disease, it's gradual clutter, tiny bits of cellular damage that accumulate over months and years. Most people never notice. They simply feel a little more tired, a little hungrier, a little less energetic every afternoon. They assume they're getting older, but here's what changes everything. Many of those signals can be influenced by simple daily habits. Not perfection, patterns. Start with your morning. If you're going to eat breakfast, build it around protein first. Eggs, plain Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or tofu are excellent choices. Add healthy fats like nuts or avocado, and include fiber from berries or vegetables. Why? Protein, fat, and fiber slow how quickly glucose enters your bloodstream. That means a smaller insulin response and a steadier flow of energy, instead of a sharp rise, followed by a crash. Here's the part nobody talks about. If you enjoy something sweet, don't eat it by itself whenever possible. Have it after a balanced meal, rather than on an empty stomach. Your body handles that glucose more smoothly because digestion is already slower. By midday, give your muscles something they love: movement. Even a brisk 15 to 20-minute walk after lunch helps muscles absorb glucose more efficiently. It's almost like opening extra parking spaces for sugar, reducing the amount insulin has to manage. Your muscles become active partners instead of passive passengers. And that's where everything changes. In the evening, avoid turning every night into a dessert ritual. If you want something sweet, keep portions modest and pair them with protein instead of eating large amounts of refined sugar alone. Then protect your sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 consistent hours. Why? Poor sleep raises cortisol, and elevated cortisol can make your cells less responsive to insulin the next day. Suddenly, your body has to work even harder to control blood sugar. One restless night can echo into tomorrow's metabolism. The surprising part is, none of these steps work because they're magical. They work because they send the same biological message over and over again. Your cells begin expecting stability instead of emergencies. Insulin becomes calmer. AMPK, another important cellular energy sensor, gets more opportunities to signal. Maintenance when you stay active and avoid constant overeating. The balance between building and cleaning becomes healthier again. Your body wasn't asking for impossible discipline. It was asking for consistent signals. Clean first, rebuild second, repeat. That's how resilient biology works. Every balanced meal, every short walk, every good night's sleep, they're not isolated victories. They're stacked instructions your cells remember. And over weeks and months, those small instructions become a completely different biological future. But sugar isn't the only everyday habit sending hidden messages to your cells. In the next episode, You'll discover why one common morning routine may be accelerating aging before breakfast is even finished, and why scientists believe changing it takes less than 10 minutes.